If you are like me and you came on a care worker visa, we now know that as of July 2025, that visa is no longer there. They've cancelled the care worker visa. Also, one of the changes, I was one of those fortunate ones who came before April of 2024. Since April 2024, if one was coming on a care worker visa or a senior care worker, they wouldn't be allowed to bring their dependents. There's nothing, if one is a parent, I'm a mom. I don't know how people implement these rules. These people are coming to do the very same job that I do, and I understand all the outcry, all the rage with immigration and stuff. To be separated like that from your children, from your spouse, from your partner, is just heartbreaking, and my heart goes to all those that are being affected by these. Hey everyone, and a big welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we want to talk about one of the questions that I'm constantly getting, especially in the past few weeks, few months, that I regret relocating to the UK. And this is coming at the backdrop of all the changes in terms of immigration laws that are happening left, right and center, day and night, especially in the UK. Immigration laws are changing, visa rules are changing, especially if one came on a care worker visa. And this is not just taking into skilled workers or care workers, it's across board. And recently we saw in the news the changes that are going to affect students in the country. I'm hoping to make a video on that. So it's a lot of things, and also we can never talk about regret, about life in the diaspora, and not talk about cost of living. Things have just got more expensive in the UK. So it's a fair question to ask me if I regret relocating to the UK coming from Zimbabwe, which I did in 2022, July. I came over to the UK and I was fortunate enough to relocate with my family. When people kept asking me that question, it got me thinking really, and it got me comparing the two. So that's why I made this video. So let's get right into it. Firstly, let's talk about comparing my expectations and the reality. Just like everybody else, when I first moved, I had my own expectations. Of course, one of the things that I was going through my mind was like, I've made it out of the typical country. I had my expectations as far as their lifestyle, opportunities and things like that. But when you come to the ground, then the reality can be a bit of a throwback for you. That's a huge difference. I relocated up north straight on. So what I had envisioned and what I always saw on telly was not what I met on the ground. Opportunities or some situations were tougher than I thought. Cost of living and bills are a reality in this country. I must say, in my adult life or throughout my life, I'd never paid a single bill. Why? I used to stay with parents / guardians all my life. And when I moved out at 18, I started staying in company provided accommodation. So this was like time really having to pay for my bills. And it's not a joke. When you relocate here, yeah, a reality. But that's not to say that everything was grim and bad. There were other good sides, good things to it, like in terms of amenities, in terms of things work, how functional the country is. That's what I met on the ground. Having grown up in Zimbabwe, you tell the difference that, right, this is the first world. I always like to appreciate and credit where it's due. It was just nice for once to be in a functional space. Actually nice for once to be somewhere where you don't have to worry about electric, worry about the internet. Things are functional to a certain extent. However, that does not take away from the fact that I grew homesick. I left my kids behind. I wasn't staying with my husband. So yeah, it made it a bit difficult. Also, part and parcel of the things that made it difficult or that were so different was the fact that really integrating in the workspace. A lot of people don't want to talk about this, but I must say it was a bit difficult. Language barrier. Time when my colleagues say, but you speak better or you speak good English. It took a lot of work, a lot of practice. When I first started, I remember, I think I've shared this in one of my videos, and I do remember when I got to the airport and one of the directors of the company that I came to work for picked us from the airport. The only thing I said was hello, and it was about a 3-hour-long drive from Manchester to Cumbria. I was quiet in that car, never said a word. I literally had to pretend to sleep because I didn't know what else to say to the man who had come to pick us up. I was just speechless. And one of the experiences for me that left me tongue-tied was the fact that this was my first time really being that close to a white person, and I'm not a racist. I'm just sharing with you my experiences. I've had marvelous experiences with that organization and my amazing colleagues that I work with, the amazing community that I live in. So, but it was just my first time being that close to them, so I was left tongue-tied. So yeah, just talk about the changing visa rules in the UK. If you are like me and you came on a care worker visa, we now know that as of July 2025, that visa is no longer there. They've cancelled the care worker visa. Also, one of the changes, I was one of those fortunate ones who came before April of 2024. Since April 2024, if one was coming on a care worker visa or a senior care worker, they wouldn't be allowed to bring their dependents. Guys, there's nothing. If one is a parent, I'm a mom. I don't know how people implement these rules. These people are coming to do the very same job that I do. And I understand all the outcry, all the rage with immigration and stuff. But to be separated like that from your children, from your spouse, from your partner, is just heartbreaking. And my heart goes to all those that are being affected by these rules. Some people came still, even after April of 2024, some people still came, and they had hoped that eventually they would be able to reunite with their families. But what's heartbreaking is that in a few days' time, projected that on the 8th of September, they're going to be debating in Parliament the extension of indefinite leave to remain eligibility from the 5-year that we signed up for, that we came for, to a 10-year indefinite to remain rule. But one of the things that I always say is these changes really do affect a lot of people, do affect a lot of families, because like for people who have come and they'll be counting down to say, well, if I get my indefinite leave to remain, then I'll be able to reunite with my family. I'll be able to reunite with my children. Now, if we go on to a 10-year rule, now that means like that's impossible. But these are changes. As time goes on, we have actually come to the realization that they won't stop at anything. The rules will keep changing and it will keep on affecting us. So yeah, that's where a bit of reflection lies for me, especially because when I was relocating, I was like, well, I'm going abroad. I'm going to start a life for myself. I'm going to get settled. I'm going to settle with my family. But then with these constant changes, am I ever going to settle? Is the question that is consistently and persistently on my mind. And I know I'm not alone. I know a lot of people who've relocated to the UK, especially with the care worker visa, have to think about this all the time. And if you're watching this video and you're thinking you want to relocate to the UK at some point, now you have to know that you have to meet a certain eligibility criteria. Criteria is from even your qualifications. Now, being degreed or having a level 6 qualification is one of the requirements that you need to have if you're relocating to this country. Also of what you need to meet as the eligibility criteria, on top of all the other basic eligibility criteria that we've always talked about on this channel, is the fact that you need to meet a certain salary threshold. This is just heartbreaking. Salary threshold of £38,000, if not more. Which employer would be able to afford that to bring an immigrant to come and work in the sector? So many businesses are going to be affected by this. Also, while you're speaking of finances and payments, I'm just checking how much. There's been so many changes in the leave to remain fees. They're sitting on about slightly above £3,000. Now you can imagine for a family of 4, like we're a family of 4, if we are to pay for £3,000 for each family member, it means we need to save up £12,000 to apply just for indefinite leave to remain. But then we don't know, by the time that we'll apply, probably one person will have to pay £10,000. Who knows? These figures are constantly in review. These policies and rules are constantly changing, and no amount of petitioning really can stop this. I know people have written to MPs, people have petitioned this, people have petitioned even the Parliament. No wonder why it's being tabled on the 8th of September. I also received an email from one of our politicians that say, well, write to your MP so that they can take our plight to the Parliament. How that would work, how that would influence or overturn this move from 5-year visa rule to 10-year rule, who knows? We have to look at opportunities and challenges. There is nowhere that you can go where there is opportunities but without challenges. Each and every country that you're going to move to, even the countries that we left, there are opportunities there, there are challenges there. You just weigh really what works for you. Are there more opportunities back home or more opportunities abroad? I'll just give you a quick rundown of some of the opportunities. The quality of life is top-notch. Healthcare systems, education when you have children. There is job opportunities. I cannot compare it to. I've shared in a video that for 7 years I worked for an organization and I was a contract worker. There were jobs, literally there are no jobs back home. No wonder why everyone is flocking up here. Also, part and parcel is the opportunities that can open up if you're in the diaspora are just amazing. Opportunities for you to do things back home and opportunities for you to invest even here and abroad and back home as well, depending on what your focus is. Opportunities to even further your education if you're someone who is looking into pursuing academic opportunities. They are quite plenty, some funded, some partially funded, some free, and some that you have to pay for. But then it's some of these things that you cannot access ordinarily if you were back home. Also, part and parcel of the things that I want to share with you is opportunities, is access to global opportunities. Once you come here, I've seen a lot of people now are relocating to Australia, Canada, America, New Zealand, you name it, from here, which was so difficult if we were back home. I think that UK experience to your CV will really boost your chances of, penetrating certain is a fact. However, let's talk about the challenges. Things like childcare. If you're a parent, if you're a mom, if you're a family, and that is a reality in this country. You literally have to be watching your children each and every time, each and every minute. Whereas back home, we had family helping, we had neighbors helping. That's the difference now. The other thing, work-life balance. I always say to my friends, in this you can't life is a luxury, especially when you work certain jobs. I used to work in domiciliary. One of the reasons why I left domiciliary was the fact that my work-life balance was just non-existent. I literally had to work 6 days a week. If I would pick a second job, that would mean each and every day I'm working. Now that is not doable when we look at it. So work-life balance, well, you can achieve it. I've been talking to people who have been in the country longer. They've done certain things that will now make them afford the work-life balance. Some have upskilled, now they work from home. Their jobs allow them to work from home. Some have started their own businesses so they can work from anywhere else in the world. Some have upskilled so much that they now do consultative work, or their work is just on a consultancy basis, or so that one can do if they want to counter that. Cost of living, we cannot. Life is expensive abroad. It's really, really expensive, and can give you the kind of money to cover certain things. You just have to work for you to afford certain things. Also, housing is a big issue. I've met people who have struggled really to find a house, and yet for you to be able to bring a family abroad, you need to take certain. You have accommodation for them. People can't live like what we used to do back home, where you can sleep 4, 5, 6 people in one room. Not in this country. So it's one of the downsides or challenges that you face abroad. But the question still remains, does that make me regret the move? Does that make me regret the decision? Watch until the end, because I'm going to tell you where I am at the minute, because this is the reality of life abroad, life in the diaspora. So, do I regret relocating abroad? The answer is a big fat no. Why? This journey has stretched me, has challenged me, has pushed me to certain limits. It hasn't been an easy road, but I take it as an investment into myself, an investment into my growth, an investment into my future. What I've learned coming to the UK is that there are times when you just have to grow tough skin, weather the storm, and keep pushing, keep focusing, keep looking straight ahead. Like I've said earlier in this video, I've had the privilege of meeting people who've been in the country for longer. When you hear their stories, then that's when you realize that our journey has been easy. We came here eligible for a lot of things, being able to do a lot of things. We came here multi-entry visa that allows us to go in and out of the country whenever we want to. People that came 20 years ago didn't have that. We have got access to financial institutions. People are getting loans to do all sorts. People are driving. People are opening bank accounts. People that came before us couldn't do all of that. Of course, it's not easy. And what I've realized, or what I've come to experience, and I'm grateful for all of that, is the fact that coming to the UK has actually opened more doors for me. It has presented so many opportunities, which I'm grateful for, and all the more reasons why you need to stay on this channel. Do subscribe, please, because we're going to be exploring all those opportunities together. I'll be sharing with you the opportunities in whatever avenue I'll be pursuing. I'll be sharing on this channel, so please do subscribe and stay on here so that you don't miss out. We're here to inspire each other. We're here to encourage each other. We're here to support each other and to share experiences and strengthen one another. I'll give you for an example. Since I came, I've worked in 4 different care settings. I started off in domiciliary. I worked in a care home. I've done support work. I'm still doing support work, and now I work in the NHS. What that has done is it has made me aware of so many opportunities in each and every sector of the industry. This is just me in one industry, and this is in the past 3 years. So you can imagine what I will see in 10 years' time if I'm still here. Imagine what I will experience if I do 20 years in this country. These are things I never experienced in my 30 plus years of living back home. So I'm grateful for all those opportunities. It just depends on the way you decide to look at life, your outlook at what your goals are, what you aspire to do and to achieve, really. So for me, it has opened a lot of doors, and for me, it has allowed me to change jobs like, at the finger. And joining the NHS has opened so many avenues, has actually, empowered me once more to challenge myself even more, to want to even start all over again, like career-wise and things like that. So I'm looking forward to the next chapter. I'm looking forward to the next big challenge that I'm going to embark on. And like I say, if you're watching this video, go and watch. I've just recently taken my English IELTS test, which will open more doors, which I'll be journeying on here anyway. So all the more reasons why you need to stay on this channel, to subscribe, and don't forget to put the notification bell on, because we'll be sharing more videos on the journey ahead. But I can never regret this journey. And also, each time I talk to my children, I talk to my husband, they do share their different experiences all together, and at the moment there are no regrets in the family. Instead, there is more gratitude, more hope, more, no regrets at all so far. I would love, that's all I had for you in this video. I would love to hear what your experiences have been. If you're in the UK, share your experiences in the comments, please. Would love to hear how it's been treating you, how you're feeling all these changes, immigration policies, immigration laws, visa rules, the atmosphere and in the country. How is that affecting you? How are you navigating it? Also, if you're watching this video and you are thinking you want to relocate to the UK, has your mood changed since all these changes and stuff? Has watching this video made you think twice or inspired you to still forge forward? And it's a beautiful country, except for the weather sometimes, but it's a lovely country, amazing, wonderful. Don't let what's happening out there stop you from dreaming. Don't let, all that you see out there, all that you see on telly and hear on radio, move you from, living your dream, pursuing your goals in life. Because here, we are pursuing the goals. We're not listening to what doesn't save us. Of course, we are aware, but we don't let that stop us. So I'll see you in my next video, and do subscribe if you haven't done so. I'll see you then. Bye for now.